We are ready.
Right.
Gail, Jim, Rita, great to see you out there in cyberspace and good to be here at the Tulsa Center for Spiritual Living. We're all bringing speakers today for some reason. And today's talk title is called Go Boldly Go. What does that make you think of? That's right. So I would be remiss if I didn't begin with a little Star Trek.
There you go.
Systems and impulse engines at your command, sir.
Weapon systems and shields on standby.
Dock control reports ready, Captain.
Bones.
Look around.
Scott, how are you? Dilithium chambers at maximum, Captain.
Scotty's in.
Shoot. Prepare to engage thrusters.
Permission to come aboard, Captain.
Permission granted.
As you have yet to select a first officer, respectfully, I would like to submit my candidacy. Should you desire, I can provide character references.
It would be my honor, Commander. Maneuvering thrusters, Mr. Suman.
Thrusters on standby.
Take us out.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Their ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out
Including right
new
here.
life forms and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
To boldly go. Now, I love that introduction. Right? Should I speaker it? Better?
Yeah.
Are we on? Okay.
Yeah, you know.
One of the things that, let me turn this phone off. What I love about that beginning stage of the coming together of a crew, the coming together of our team of cheerleaders, our team of sponsors, our team of people who have their special role in the world of our unfolding. And coming together, of course, the music always helps, right? Music lifts us up to a place that's where we feel it in our gut as the symphony soars, as the guitar plays, as the voices sing, to know that we are capable of more than we were in just that moment before. When we rally together our team of supporters, beginning first off with ourselves and our grounded connection to the one, that we can begin to tap into the creative possibilities of life. Now, Gene Roddenberry, who created the Star Trek series that has many, many ideas, imagine the creativity that was spewing out of his brain and thinking about the possibilities, many of which are made manifest today and will be even more so in the future. So we can boldly go, and I notice it says where no one has gone before, right? The modern version is no one has gone before. You know, we're going to be more open-minded. So Raymond Charles Barker was a contemporary of Ernest Holmes, and he said, the full symphony of your real self can only be heard when all the windows of your mind are open to the fullness of life. That symphony, that sound, that opening up, that wildness and inspiration can only be heard when we're open to the fullness of life. So this week's topic, Boldly Go, extends the theme of this month, which is about creativity. It's who and what we are. That which caused us to press through into this time and place will not be denied. And we will always calls for our attention and expression. Seen or unseen, spirit creates always. Through every breathtaking scenic vista that we can see, through every challenge that we have, through every mountain or little hill or step that we climb, depending on our perspective, when we listen and respond to our intuitive tugs, our nudges, our sparks, we dance with the creative process itself. Our creativity arc for this month began with the individual's choice to heed the creative impulse, not resist it, not push away from it. And finally, now in the 4th week of April, we are exploring our creativity in the world. When we dare to express our talents, our gifts, our passions, we put ourselves out in a world that can be both vulnerable and victorious, and both are important. Authenticity is the bridge there. It's the difference between performing and expression. Performance is for others, while expression is releasing the energy that is our true self out into the world. So what's left to talk about in creativity? It's time to get off of our knots, our yabbats, our I don't think so's, and bring our creative selves wherever we are wanting it to be in the world. When we dare to present, as I said earlier, our gifts, our talents, our passions, we bring vulnerability and we can be victorious. So here's the issue. If we want to be victorious, if we want to succeed by letting our gifts out in the world, we have to begin with a sense of vulnerability. We must open our hearts, let down our ego defenses, and dare to live authentically as if we want those rewards of a life well lived. Now, this week is not about judging the quality of performance or assessing the outcome. This is about reaching in, allowing out our authentic life purpose. Now, as Dolores, I'd be remiss without quoting Uncle Ernie, Ernest Holmes today, the founder of religious science. He said in the Science of Mind textbook on page 212, healing is not creating a perfect idea or a perfect body or a perfect circumstance, I'm adding. It is revealing an idea which is already perfect. It is not creating a perfect idea. It's revealing what's already perfect. It's letting out, it's releasing, it's bringing into the light that which is already perfect. The intention to reveal a creative idea, solutions, or possibilities in our lives paves the way for that revelation. When we marshal our spiritual forces, right? We got Bones, we got Scotty, we got Spock, we got Kirk in all his glory. When we rally those spiritual forces, we solve big issues and we can answer big questions. When we vision, when we pray, when we meditate, when we get quiet for guidance and insight, we can reveal magnificent ideas that anchor us in our faith and launch us into a meaningful life of passion. From our practice oneness with all life, with each other, and our availability to that greater wisdom, we become powerful vehicles for transformation, healing, and newness. Spiritual mind treatment is our superpower. Let's use it. We must recognize that we live in a field of infinite wisdom and wholeness. Like, wow, we live in a field of infinite wisdom and wholeness, in a place of pure potentiality. And that means that our unlimited thinking can produce unlimited good. Along with our recognition of the allness and immediacy of God, we recognize that no one, including ourselves, is random and without a greater truth to be revealed. Gosh, it sounds so great on a Saturday night at church. Oh, to remember it in those other moments. You know, it's interesting. I worked for a company for about almost 19 years in Tulsa. It's the reason I came to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's created the possibility for my kids to be born pretty much in this church, right? Yeah. We're very close. And they're now graduating high school in yet just 1 month. And over the course of those 19 years, there was times where that job was wonderful and times where I was like, I got to get out of here. And it was never the right time. I was never clear about it. I had more work to do. I didn't believe that there was a greater possibility. Whatever the reasons may be, I own it. And of course, I come from a place of gratitude for having that job to support me and my family and my creative expression for all those years. Now, over the last 3 or 4 years, I fly for business all the time for an airline. and it's the Love airline. And I noticed in the last year, I started to build a mental equivalent. In Ernest Holmes' teaching, right? We can begin to formulate in our mind's eye what it is we want for our lives. It's important not to be too specific, though. When my wife Kim and I would go for walks in the morning and I'd be complaining or wanting something different or saying, when is it going to be my time to do something new and different? That nothing, great things don't come out of that. But it had to be done. But Kim would say, she'd say, describe your best work, where you can be in the world. And I would describe it. She's like, no. I don't want specifics. I want qualities. What's it feel like? Right? And one thing, I want to feel valued. I want to feel engaged. I want to be in a place where I'm creative and appreciated. I want to be where I'm stretching, where I'm playful, where I can be goofy. All of those fun things. Well, back in January, I was down in Dallas for work, and I took a sidetrack, and I drove by the Southwest Airlines headquarters, and I pulled up in front. And I see these 3 buildings around me with these beautiful bridges going across, and I see the airport runway in the background with the planes going by. And I just sat there for a while. My coworker was with me. She just let me be quiet. She told me afterwards, she thought, something's going on here. And I was creating a mental equivalent. I imagined myself on the other side of that fence and that security guard. And there's a couple ways to get there, right? One would be to just jump over the fence. I probably wouldn't make it through that. I could see through the fence. I could see over the fence. And in my mind's eye, I could imagine there being no fence and seeing myself in some role where there was energy, feeling myself being drawn to something. But I didn't know what that might be. So what I did is I just stayed grounded and focused and prayed. And suddenly I noticed there was a connection between my gut and God. For some of us, God speaks to us, spirit speaks to us, energy and life speaks to us in different ways. And for me, a gut feeling or a gentle nudge or an idea that drops in the shower most often is how God speaks. So I also knew what was really important, to not be leaving something, but being drawn to something. Michael Beckwith says that pain pushes until vision pulls. So I knew that being in a place of complaining or whining or not liking what was in the past helped me get into my creative place. So I was every day searching the career pages for this company, and nothing came up. And I got an intuition one day to call a colleague over there and say, would you like to hire a guy with a lot of experience? And they're like, yeah, we'd love that someday. And on February 16th of 2022, this year, my mom made her transition at 5:30 in the morning. And it was beautiful. It was peaceful. And to this day, I feel her energy and her presence with me. About 11 a.m. later that day, that colleague sent me an email that pinged on my phone, and he said, we just dropped 2 jobs. You might want to look at them. And I get goosebumps because I would have missed those emails. I wasn't searching for jobs on the day that my mother transitioned. And my dad looks over me, says, what are you doing? It's on my computer. So you're not working, are you? I said, no. I said, I'm applying for 2 jobs. And I think mom is helping out up there somewhere, in here somewhere. So boom, off I sent my resume and applied for 2 jobs at Southwest Airlines. I would not have seen those jobs, and they only were posted publicly for 2 days.
Wow.
So 1 month and 3 interviews later, I had a job offer. And this job is in Dallas, Texas. But during the interview process, I found out that the company is embracing hybrid schedules, and I need to be down there 1 day a week or a couple days a month. And other than that, I can work from home. How about fell off my chair when that happened? I was like, Mama, what you got going on here? Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Jude. And I could feel the sense of power and creativity here. And guess what? I may have thought about this for years, but intention and alignment, when I was ready, that's when the resources came in, right? That's when the enterprise boosted off light speed through a black hole, through all of my doubts and fears and worries and limitations and not enoughness, into something that just simmered down into perfection. As I sat down for each of those interviews, I prayed. And my prayer for each of the interviews was that I simply be authentic. And that for me and all of the candidates, that the highest and best outcome is already done in the one mind. So guess what? That shifted me from having to perform or be what the person, what I thought they wanted me to be. I mean, I prepared for the interview, but when I took the deep breath and started, it was just showing up as me, as opposed to performing. It's just like we talked here, this like showing up and being real is what made this all different. And Southwest is a company that expects people to be authentic, which means you get to be goofy and be yourself and crack jokes and
Powering off.
just to make sure that the connection between us was real.
Yeah.
And I have felt nothing but love since the minute I accepted the job, from my coworkers, my team, through with everyone. And last Monday, I flew to Dallas, and with 400 other new hires, we were paraded through the headquarters to literally a red carpet with hundreds of employees lining with pom-poms and signs that say we love you, and loud music blaring, and the CEO of a 60,000 employee company leading the parade.
Oh, that.
So I feel like I'm in the right place. And there's lots of unknowns. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I think about the creative power that is and was behind this. I have dreamed over many years of some kind of career perfection. And it wasn't until I was ready, until I got clear, until I was willing to let the creative process flow. Because guess what? I prayed for things over the years, and I know they're manifested in the one mind of God. Yeah. Well, where are they now? And that's what happens. I mean, look at the room here today, right? Well, we have 10, 11 people, and we've got 4 people online today. This is the creative expression and unfoldment for the greatest and highest good. I don't count. Oh, that's right. There's 3. The greatest. Yeah, I see myself on the screen. For the greatest and highest good for the Tulsa Center for Spiritual Living in 2022 and beyond. Yes. Right? This is what happens. This is the beauty that's unfolding. So again, Michael Beckwith says that pain pushes until vision pulls. And there's a couple of steps that I can think of that go along with this and are relevant in our lives. One is to recognize really vulnerably where I am right now, where we are right now. If I'm calling for something different or greater or unique or a change in my life or in the world, I get to recognize where I am right now with a vulnerability that said, it's time for a change. You know, I'm not showing up the way I should be in this place, and that there's something better, something different. The next thing, so be vulnerable about where we are now, and then tap into it, intuition. Where is that place in our mind, body, soul that spirit speaks to us? And then take action when the feeling feels right. You know, that morning when I woke up and I was in a hotel in Maui for work. No complaints about that. It said, why don't you reach out to this guy you worked with 4 years ago at Southwest on a project and make a connection? I emailed him. He replied immediately back and said, call me right away. And I just said, do you have a minute? So I've done that in my past and not gotten a response. This was one where the spirit and energy said yes. About a week later, I called a colleague in the industry and to see if he knew anybody in this department. He answered the phone. He said, I know this one person. I said, she's the person on the department. He said, I'll call her. I'll send her a letter of recommendation. He called her. She answered the phone. And she said, I just happened to be looking at his resume, trying to figure out why the heck he would want to leave after 19 years. And my colleague who talked to him said, here's why. Here's why. Easy, easy peasy. So the other thing, so recognize vulnerably that it's time for a change, tap into our intuition and take action when it feels right. And then gently and loosely build a mental equivalent, leaving plenty of room for creativity, for spirit to fill in the spaces in ways that we may not have even thought of ourselves. When I was looking over that fence, I was thinking, I can imagine myself here, and then some walls came up. It's like, well, how can I live in Dallas? How can I move to Dallas today? What would that look like? What about the kids? What about the job? What blah, blah, blah. And instead, I was like, shoot, wipe it out. I'm just going to loosely hold this mental equivalent that I can see myself being a valuable contributor in this organization, in this space. And spirit dropped in an opportunity that was beyond what I thought. And then finally, trust, more, trust again. We know that we live in this incredible universe of infinite possibilities. And that as we lean into it, as we let and allow, that transformation, beauty, and good deeds can come through. And then when having a chance to be in the world, my final thing is say, be authentic, right? They get to show up. You know, Del, you're still in the business of selling, right, insurance and life products, right? They're not buying the product, they're buying you, right? Been a customer. Right? When we show up with who we are, not trying to pretend or be something else and make an unholy match or connection, unholy match, then we get to be ourselves. And then it feels so good whether we get the business or we don't, because we know we showed up as ourselves. So that's my little story of demonstration of boldly going, where in the past, maybe even I thought I didn't have the chance, but where beauty has come through and where it's already still unfolding. And there are a couple questions that you can think about here, right? What is seeking to emerge as you today? It doesn't need to be a new job. It could be a new connection, a new relationship, a new approach with finances. And when thinking about that, think about what do you do naturally that you love? And think about doing the most. What brings you joy? What brings you purpose? And another thing is, where do you lose yourself in the experience? I know we got music right here, right? You lose yourself in the experience of music when you're truly deeply connected. And then another one is, where do you feel most at home in your own skin? Love that one, right? When I'm feeling uncomfortable and awkward and out of place, being called to move into a place where I can be most comfortable. And finally, what's the one thing that makes your heart sing more than anything in the world? And maybe it's several things, right? We all have different roles and responsibilities we play. But what is that energy? That's what Kim would say to me. She said, what's that energy? What do you feel? What makes your heart sing? When are you feeling most filled up, energetic, and full of love? And as those answers emerge, knowing what we love, who we are, and what we care about creates a self-awareness. And when we have that, we realize that our purpose isn't about livelihood, career, or job skills. Those are great demonstrations. There's great manifestations. They help us pay the bills. But knowing what we love, who we are, and what we care about, we are then drawn into this deeper sense of self-awareness. And I got news for all of you and me and all of us. Our purpose is love. Our purpose is love. And Ernest Holmes says, we must consciously know that we can use the creative power. The more complete such acceptance on our part, the more completely we shall be able to use this power for a definite purpose. That's one of the key Ernest Holmes teachings from the Science of Mind. We know there's a creative power in this universe that we can consciously be aware of, and the deeper our acceptance of that part, the more completely we can use the power for a definite purpose. So it's time not just to think or live outside the box. Maybe we got to destroy the box, recycle the pieces, repurpose the space where the box was sitting. Yeah, we're good stewards of just passing Earth Day here. So what is your particular box? Are you ready to bless it, let it go, and move into life more creatively, more imaginatively, and more energetically? Take that this week and know it to be so. And so it is.